It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time. I'm so excited. We've been waiting on this for all week. Gladly to introduce two of my closest homeboys right now. You got my boy Grim Grimes down here. I'm glad you could join us, bro. Say what's up.
Thank you. What's up, everybody?
Shit,
What's going
everybody's
on, brother?
chilling.
What's
We
going on?
good.
It's good, good,
Yes,
good.
sir. And then my boy, the legendary Shore over here. You know, the main man, the myth, the legend, all by himself. Shore, how you doing, man? You all right?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
What up, brother? Everything good, man. Ready to get into this WWE, brother.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
10-4,
All right.
10-4. So, man,
Glad y'all joining us.
I'm a big wrestling fan at heart, man. I'm talking about all the way from like the 80s when we was watching that stuff on the TV or whatever, where you had to turn the dials, man. They used to have that stuff on everywhere. So from back then, whatever, we had Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, we had all those key guys and stuff like that. And then going up to like into the 90s, you got the Attitude Era, you got NWO, you got freaking Triple H, Shawn Michaels, you know what I'm saying? 2010, 20, you know what I'm saying? 2000, you got these guys, you got The Rock really setting it off, Stone Cold setting it off.
What?
And then 2000, 2020, man, you got a lot of has-beens, man. Like, I don't know really who these guys are. I know with the AEW, they got like all the older guys and stuff like that or whatever, all the old fan favorites or whatever from the WWE. So coming from my generation, I feel like that the WWE is falling off a little bit. I think its top peak was the Attitude Era with WWE and freaking WCW was going at each other, whatever, with the Monday Night Wars. You feel me? So, sure, how do you feel about the way WWE is working right now?
Well, that's a very good question. But you also have to ask yourself another question. When has the WWE ever been in operation without Vince McMahon?
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is, it's 2022 now. Vince McMahon, after 40 plus years, has retired, and that's going to change the game a lot. You have to look at who's going to be running things now. Like you just said, the Attitude Era.
Right.
Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Stephanie McMahon. These are very, very creative people. And I do think that WWE is going to bounce back eventually. It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing ever does. But if they can key into the kind of creativity and success that they had back into the, mid to late 90s, early 2000s, I really do think they can take the WWE to the next level, even without Vince McMahon at the helm. And like you said, when you were talking about WCW, we have AEW right now. Granted, not as big as WCW was back in the day as far as a national level yet. But I do think eventually we might have another, Monday Night War situation coming. And that would make everybody better.
That would. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Definitely.
Real quick, Grimes, I love that belt, man. I love that belt.
Yeah.
Why don't you show that shit off to the crowd? Show that shit off to the audience, please.
Yeah, there you go.
United States champion. That's beauty. That's a beauty.
Yeah, I like that, definitely.
When we were kids, he had so much wrestling memorabilia and gear and shit in his house, man. His mom loved it too. That's awesome. So Grimes, I'll bounce it back to you, man. Same question. Do you think the WWE will ever bounce back?
I don't. I mean, but then again, I don't think you can really compare yesterday to now because things were measured different. It was all about that TV rating. Now they're streaming. There's so much more trying to grab your eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? You can't compare it. It's different. So, I mean, I think that with AEW being out there, it'll definitely create, more competition and maybe push boundaries a little bit. But I don't think it'll ever be like the Attitude Era was. Nor do I think it should be. Because you look back at the Attitude Era, not everything from the Attitude Era was necessarily good. I mean, you had people giving birth to hands. You know what I'm saying? Like silly crap like that, man.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. But I will say, back in the Attitude Era, even in the 2000s, later 2000s, it's like the worst people on the roster back then, I felt like were good enough. I feel like they're almost as good enough as the top guys they try to push nowadays. It's like a lot of these cats, man. Like, I haven't watched that shit in years because I can't, man.
I think the problem is they have a problem creating superstars. You know, they don't let them be themselves. They script them too much. They get away from that, and you can see some.
And that's largely in part to Vince McMahon, to Shore's point.
Yeah,
you know, because Vince was the man known for it. Vince controlled everything. Vince decides your fucking entrance music. You know what I mean? Like, he makes every decision. So, like Shore mentioned, maybe now with him gone, with who's running WWE, who's the CEO? Isn't it Stephanie McMahon and that
I think
Nick
Triple H
guy?
I think Triple H. Yeah, I think Triple H part of like head of that stuff too now. You know what I'm saying?
Triple H is like talent development or something, isn't he?
No, he's creative.
Creative director, right?
Yeah.
Development. There's also Stephanie McMahon and someone with the last name Khan.
Nick Khan.
Nick Khan. They're co-CEOs, so they're both at the.
So that Shad Khan's son, that's the same one.
No, they're not related. No, they're not related. That was my first question too.
Yeah, because he do the AEW, because you know that stuff based out of Jacksonville. Like when the pandemic happened or whatever, like they were doing that stuff right there in the stadium or whatever, right there in the little stadium or whatever. They'll shoot like stuff like every day. But like saying that with the Attitude Era as well or whatever, because you had Shawn Michaels, you had freaking Bret Hart, you know what I'm saying? You had all these guys or whatever, but then you had the freaking Rock or whatever that came and took over, you know what I'm saying, for like 10 years. Then you had John Cena who took over but they always had that next guy. But see, like right now, they got Roman Reigns as that guy, and I don't feel like that he really is that guy for real. Like, I mean, he's cool, but his move set isn't that good. His like I say, I think he was like the sorriest one out of the Shield. Because I like Seth Rollins and I like Dean Ambrose. Roman Reigns or whatever, man, was like the quiet guy or whatever, but he has the look. But I don't feel like he has the persona. I don't feel like he has the, you know what I'm saying, the voice and this and that or whatever. He's like real, like very, acknowledge me, this and that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just like little snappy little lines and stuff like that. But like Seth Rollins, man, that guy is a clown, bro. That man can have that junk going, like, and they got that man as a lower tier guy, and I don't like that, like an intercontinental type guy. You feel me?
Yep. To your point, Sam, as far as like how Roman Reigns is right now, who was another guy that they pushed real hard that had the simplest move set you could ever ask for?
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know, his back then he really got his massive push. His demographic was for kids, because if you get the kids, then you get the parents and you get the wallet. It's a totally different era now as far as what they're trying to do with character development. I feel like the Roman Reigns today is a million times better than the Roman Reigns of 5 years ago.
Right, it is.
Like Paul Heyman with him every night.
Right.
He needed that.
And he makes it right. He makes it right. Exactly. Paul Heyman, definitely.
Even though
he makes it like that.
And even though Paul Heyman doesn't even do a whole lot of talking. Since when do you see Paul Heyman out there keeping his mouth shut?
Right.
But just his presence alone and being with Roman every night, watching him wrestle, watching him talk, watching the way he works, everything, I think Roman Reigns is just going to, he's going to, and Seth Rollins is another, I think he's underused as far as the talent goes. Another one today, I feel like, is that could be really, really good. That just came back was Bray Wyatt.
Right.
I think Bray Wyatt could be one of the as far as character goes. I think he would be not as good as Undertaker. Nobody could be, but I think he could be our generation.
Like a man.
I said that. I agree. He could be this generation's Undertaker.
Stop it! Like you guys are all smoking. I feel like that's ridiculous.
I feel like that's what he got because he even got the spinoff with the chick. What's the chick name that was with her? that was with Bray Wyatt or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Alexa
They had the dog.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss. Even
Oh
got
my
the
God,
Alexa
who cares?
Bliss
Can we skip to the
all
script?
the way going around and stuff like that or whatever. Even got her a little spinoff now. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, yeah, just putting it out there or whatever, man. It's definitely not the same. Yeah, it's definitely not the same. We don't have the same superstars, and like I said, you need the persona, you need everything. You need the, you know what I'm saying? You have to have the move set, you gotta have the persona, you gotta have the
So, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The crowd participation, you know, you got to have all that stuff or whatever to get to that level, whatever that they had back then. Because I think that was the best time of wrestling of all times. So it's gonna be hard to even get to that point. You feel me? So, like I said, with these guys here, I just don't see it. The Bobby Lashley's, the freaking, you know what I'm saying? Like all these older guys and stuff like that. Even Randy Orton. Randy Orton is like a freaking tag team with the RKO and shit now. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, man, Randy Orton, I think, is a top guy. You feel me? He's been around for a minute. You feel me? So, like,
he's been around for a long time, bro. He's
right.
old now.
Yeah, he like 40
Shit,
something now. Yeah, he like
He needs to
45 now.
retire.
So
Listen, man. Listen. Enough with this crap, with this Bray Wyatt bullshit and all these other fucking losers, bro. Give me a break. God, I'm sorry, but I watched wrestling when we had, dude, whatever. Don't get me started on this shit. But sticking to my topic, look, man. So I got both of y'all inputs. Grimes don't think it's gonna bounce back to like what it was, which, you know, it probably won't, but Shore thinks it's gonna make a comeback to an extent where, you know, AEW is gonna give it some competition and they're gonna yeah, it's gonna give it some push, which either way, man, I got no hatred towards it. You know, I love wrestling growing up as a kid. It was awesome. I mean, shit, me and Grimes used to fuck each other up, wrestling moves, putting each other through tables and shit, little cardboard tables, fucking each other up, all that shit, bro.